Welcome to The Connection, a weekly radio program where we share our experiences and expertise with stories of caring, courage, and change right here in Connecticut. Listen to learn about needed resources to improve your well-being and transform your life. Now, here are the hosts of The Connection, Lisa DeMatteis-Lepore and Ann Baldwin.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of The Connection right here on WTIC News Talk 1080. This is Lisa DeMatteis-Lepore, CEO and President of The Connection. I am happy to be here with you this Sunday morning. Unfortunately, my co-host Ann Baldwin is unable to join me this morning, so it's just me, but Ann, we're thinking about you and hope all is well. So as many of you know, when I started working at The Connection in 1991, I was really blessed to work at the Connection's first Women and Children's program called Hallie House, located in Middletown. The program was under construction when I started, and, the reason why I was so drawn to The Connection was because, there was very few residential treatment programs in Connecticut for women that were gender specific where they could bring their children. And when I saw this ad in the paper, I thought, could this really be happening? And this would be like my dream job. Who knew 31 years later I'd be, so blessed and able to be running such a fine organization. So my guest on the show today, this is so amazing. Her name is Letitia Balin. I want to welcome you to the show, Letitia.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
So glad you're here. And on July 29th, 2020, Letitia celebrated 23 years clean. She entered the Hallie House in Middletown, which is a program that I just told you about, in 1997. And now I'm so excited to say that she is an employee at our agency, The Connection, where she began as a client service aide working in residential, and she was promoted to another position at The Connection as a women's recovery navigator. Talk about a full circle here of seeing you working at The Connection in recovery for 23 years, clean and sober. So can you tell our listeners about your story and, how you got here, from A to B and C and D, and just sort of everything that's happened with you right now?
July 29th, 2020, I celebrated 23 years clean. I went to Hallie House in 1997, and while in the program, I met some great staff who were loving, caring, non-judgmental, and while at the program, Lisa, I was able to fill up this thing called a toolbox. I didn't know what the toolbox was at first until they just say, listen, take what you need and leave the rest. So while I was there, I got the empty box, and I just started filling it up with things that will help me upon discharging. So upon leaving the program, I began working in the field at a place which I was a triage mentor or whatever. So it gave me the opportunity to utilize my tools to help others. Now I'm an employee at The Connection, where I began as a client service aide at the Connection House. I worked there for 6 months, and I was promoted to another position, which was a recovery navigator, women's recovery navigator. I link women up to services in the community that best fit their needs. I continue to work per diem at Hallie House, where my recovery first began, where my journey started. And it still gives me the opportunity today to utilize my tools and update my toolbox on a regular basis. While at the Hallie House, I gave birth to my last daughter, which is 22. She's 22 years old now. She's going to school to be a nurse.
Can't believe it.
And on April 1st, 2019, I received a full pardon from my criminal background.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
June 15th, 2020, I purchased my very own home. And it brings tears to my eyes because who in the world would have ever thought 23 years later I will be working at the same program
that
amazing. I began my journey at.
What was that like for you to come back to Hallie House as an employee? What came to your mind when you walked through those doors again?
It kind of brought me back to when I first started there. But I knew that if I was to come there and share that I was once in them shoes, that someone would get it. And it really, really, really touches my heart to go back there and see the clients come in like how it was 23 years ago, and then to see them leave, because it still shows that the program works if you work it. And, and I tried, and I don't go there sugarcoating anything, and I just let them know that it is the truth. Get what you need and leave the rest, because that's what someone told me. And to be able to go back and give back what was given to me, I believe in my heart that's what keeps me going.
When you first came to Hallie House, what brought you there? You were pregnant at the time, correct?
Yes, I was pregnant, and when I first came there, the courts was sending me there, and I remember coming through, and I had this interview, and I was going to be accepted, but when the courts called that day, and you guys was in a meeting and never answered the phone because y'all was making the decision. Yes, we were going to take Letitia in. And by the time you guys came back to the phone to answer that phone call, I was already incarcerated in Niantic.
Oh,
and I
God.
stayed there. Yes, I stayed there a month and 3 weeks. And when I got out, I called that program. I don't know what it was about the program, but I called it. And I say, "Hi, my name is Letitia." And they say, "Hey, we were looking for you." And they told me that they had received a phone call from the courts, and the courts told them, it was too late. They had already took me in. I was already incarcerated. I spoke to whoever it was that I spoke to. They said, "Hey, we do have a bed." That was September. And they told me, I could come and still get the bed. And I went September 29th. I went into the Hallie House. I was there, Lisa, a year and a month, because when the year came, I cried because I didn't know. I cried because I didn't want to leave, because that became my home. Mm-hmm. You guys became my family. And, it was just hard going back out into the community where I once lived in I lived in Middletown. And it was I just thought it was hard. And my counselor, I remember her, Kathy Bowen, and I remember Andrea Hunter, telling me, "Letitia,
Andrea still
you got
works
it.
For us. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You got it. And I left. And here it is, 23 years later, I own my own home.
This is such a beautiful and amazing story that, there is really something to be said about an all-women's residential treatment program and the importance of, coming in and really focusing on yourself and your issues and your substance abuse and parenting skills and having your baby in a safe place and, being able to bond. But also to build those relationships, right? To build relationships with the other women that were in the program and the staff, right?
Yes.
Do you have a really good memory that you can share about being in the house, whether it was cooking or something fun that that you did that is warm and dear to your heart when you think about the program?
Yes, I remember coming in and I remember going to the groups and I remember having this counselor, and I remember back then we had Jackie as a clinician that used to meet weekly with us. Mm-hmm. And I remember, going through a session with Jackie with my oldest daughter father. And poor Jackie, she was just trying to keep this relationship, just giving all the, good points to my ex-boyfriend about, Letitia's here, she's here now, and he just couldn't seem to understand it. I was still that liar. I was still that one that, I say this now and then do, but he never thought in 100 years that I meant business when I went to that program when I went there on my own, because courts didn't make me go this time. I just went back to where I started. And I remember being in that section with Jackie, and, she really, really, really tried to keep that relationship for me and him. And I was like, "Hey, Jackie, you know what? No, he's right. Let him go. Let him go. One, I cannot stay nowhere worrying about who he's going to be dealing with or what he's going to be doing while I'm trying to work on me." And I had to let that relationship go, Lisa, and it hurted me to my heart. But today, guess what? Me and him is best friends, and he tells me all the time he wished he would have waited. He wished he would have waited. But we're best friends.
You know,
we still get along.
Mm-hmm.
And,
that's so good.
And I had to let them go. And, and there's a lot, people, places, and things. And I never say, well, who I'm going to talk to? Well, I had to get whole new friends. I had to find more places to hang out at and just get reconnected. And, and I'm proud to say, because a lot of them tells me, oh, I had to leave my hometown. But I knew I was tired. I knew I was sick and tired. And I did it right here where I was born and raised, and that was Middletown. And I did it. I remember, buddying up, and today I still talk to this individual. And we would be cooking partners. We would all bring in our different cooking skills, and we make them meals and sit down and eat like family, and help each other the best way we can to get through. And I remember a young lady couldn't do it no more, and she gave me this cross. She said, "I just feel that you're going to do it." And I still wear this cross.
Really?
On my,
wow.
I still have this cross that the individual gave me. And it's been 23 years.
This really, your journey and your story really resonates with me because, I think the best years of my career really was the ability to see the magic that happens at the women's programs and to, see the residents come in and cook together. And, I remember, that ladies would go out on pass and then they would be calling and saying, "What are you guys making?" or "What's happening there?" I miss being there because it was such a sense of home, and it was such a beautiful program, and very warm and inviting, and it's really, you really have the ability to make friendships with other women who are sharing similar stories and have traveled similar paths and didn't sign up for certain things that happened to them in their life, and the strength in numbers and all the babies that were born. And your daughter, I feel so old. I can't believe that. It's so fantastic. And is she in nursing school right now?
Yes, she's in nursing school for LPN. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my, that is so wonderful. That you must be so proud. Tell us about your handsome grandsons. How old are your grandsons?
They are 6. They'll be 7. One will be 7 September 13th, and the second one would be 7 January 7th. It was so funny because I remember when the middle one was pregnant, and I'm looking at the older one. I'm saying, well, you look like you're pregnant too. No, Ma, don't jinx me. And what? And every time we go out today, everybody's be like, "Hey, are they twins?" And I say, "No, they're 4 months apart." And we didn't even know. But they love me to death. They say, "Mimi, you're the best Mimi in the world." And it's just so good, And when I was looking for my house, I was just looking for something, because my kids are all grown now. And I was looking for something that they would enjoy. And I figured, with a yard, with trees they can climb, just doing things that kids do, or the kids used to do besides sitting, holding the tablets, TV, get outside and play. And it just melts my heart, Lisa, to see them run in the backyard. We planted 2 plum trees. We got a grapevine. We got a raspberry bush. We got a muckleberry tree. And it's just, oh my God, I pulls up at home and I just sit in the car for about 15 to 30 minutes just saying, "God, is this really mine?" And and it's like, yes, you work for it. Yes. I give all my credit to, I remember when I first met you at the program, you, Andrea, and I used to love to see you come in all dressed up, smelling good with your shoes, and you really inspired me, and I was like, and then when to be sitting in that orientation, and when I seen you come through, and I'm trying to pay attention, and I'm like, "Oh my God, there she go. And then to catch eye contact with you brought me back to when I was that wilted flower coming through that program, and you guys believed in me, and accepted me into that program. And I truly thank you guys for that, because you guys made me the woman that I am today.
Oh, I can't. That's just, I have to say that you did all the work, and I'm grateful for what you're saying to me. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful for the connection and for the agency's ability to, be forward thinking and open. We have several women's programs now, and the importance of that residential program is just near and dear to my heart, and I'm so grateful that, you were blessed to come there and really work, and it's a lot of hard work. It's not easy, and and the fact that you didn't want to leave and that you stayed, and you stayed a little bit longer, which, we will do that for, women coming in. The Hallie House Women and Children's Center is located in Middletown. It's a lovely home. The program opened in 1991, in September of 1991, and it houses 8 women and up to 7 children. So women typically will come in pregnant, or they can enter at any point of their pregnancy, or they could be trying to get reunited with a child, and the child comes and lives there. And basically, all of the groups that you talked about, we do all the groups on, ADLs and, therapy and parenting and, couples counseling and recovery-based services and, exposure to AA and NA and, how to be a parent, and also you have the confidentiality and the ability to work with your therapist on working on your own, personal issues while you're trying to get your life back together. How do you think the groups really helped you while you were in the program?
The groups helped me because they gave me time. It really gave me where I was able to focus and learn how to interact with people, learn how to take criticism and not get mad. It really taught me how to make sure you pay your bills. It just gave me all the things that I somehow lost in my addiction, and it just brought me back to, getting up in the morning, getting the shower, getting your stuff ready, getting the baby ready, being ready for group, but being done, done have breakfast. Then you had to break in between to do your appointments, and it taught me a lot, Lisa, and being able to share and being comfortable sharing your stuff in group, not worrying about no one judging you or nothing like that. It really did. It's just phenomenal, and I tend to run groups at the Hallie House when I'm there, and
what's that like for you to be on the opposite side of that?
Exactly.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes.
That's so full circle. Is that amazing? I can't tell you enough how, for our listeners, if you're a woman and you're struggling and you have a substance abuse issue, residential programming really does work, and you have a time to come with your children and really get the services you need. If you're interested in seeking any of the services at The Connection and Women's Services, you can go on our website, theconnectioninc.org. Again, theconnectioninc.org, and we'll be happy to help you and your children. What is something that you'd like to say to women right now that might be listening, or someone that knows a woman who's pregnant or suffering with substance abuse? What message would you give people right now? What's your best words that you want to say?
Recovery works if you work it.
Did you ever think 23 years ago that this is where your life would be?
If you would have asked me 23 years ago what I would have been still doing, I probably would have told you getting high. But someone else had better plans for me. And I wouldn't change nothing in the world. If someone was to ask me about my past, what will I say? No. Because you know what, Lisa, through the goods and the bad, I truly believe this path was made for me. And I tell everyone I'm here I can bring you to the path. I can bring you to the water, but I cannot make you drink it. But I can show you where the water is at. And it's up to you to drink it.
It's really so true. And, many years ago, back in the 70s and early 80s, there really weren't any gender-specific programs for women, and women were getting tossed into co-ed programs, and that didn't work because the issues, the reasons why women, use and the issues that women face, and all the pressures of being a mother and a daughter and a granddaughter, and all these other things that take care of the world and not take care of yourself and balance 1,000 things. To have a program where women can come and just really be women. And I think the other thing that's so amazing to me, and you talked about this, Letitia, is, a lot of women, when they came into the program, never had women as friends. They always looked at women as the enemy, right?
Yep. Right.
And you come in there and you see this friendship start. And you see the bond that is that happens between women, which it's really important to have women in your life. And this is nothing against men, but women understand women, and so to be able to connect with people that share similar backgrounds and what is it like to be a mom, and what happened in your life, and things like that only a woman would understand. It's just so key, and it's just such an amazing evolution. And I just could not be. I am so proud. I just am so proud and grateful for, your journey and your story and where you are right now, and the fact that you're helping women right now that were in the similar situations, that you were in when you started. And look at your children. How do you think your children have benefited from your ability to stay clean and sober?
Dave, you know what? I talked to me and my oldest daughter talk a lot because she was 7 when she came to the program to stay with me, and she always tended to say, "Ma, you look at you, Ma. Ma, you wouldn't even know none of the things if you wouldn't talk about them." She said, "Ma, I'm just so proud of you, Ma. All your friends, they got their home, She said, "But Ma, you independent, Ma. You doing it," and it just really. I don't want to say blow my heads up, but I mean, Lisa, it's just good to hear your kid. I remember when this kid used to tell my mother she didn't want me to come to the school, the embarrassment. And but to hear her speak of her mother today, you wouldn't even believe that was the same person, And my youngest daughter, she's not going to go nowhere. She's always up under me. And I'm just like that perfect mom to her. And I say, Mag, Mommy wasn't always perfect, She said, "Well, Ma, just look at you." And she always say, "Look at this house." It's just good to hear them speak so highly of me. And, and as a single mom, and as a single mom.
That's amazing. So we only have a couple of more minutes here, but what I'd like to do is, again, for folks listening to this amazing story today of Letitia that's on our show, if you're struggling and you need some help, please reach out and call us at The Connection, theconnectioninc.org. So, Letitia, before we hang up, I just want to say thank you. Ongoing success. I get to see you, which is amazing. Work at our program, and I just want to wish you much great blessings. And I'm just so grateful to you for sharing your story and telling women out there that recovery works if you work it. So, once again, I just want to say thank you, and thank you mostly to our listeners who are tuned in to hear stories of courage. And today we certainly heard a great story of courage with our guest, Letitia. So, folks, take care of yourself. Have a great week, and we'll look forward to hearing you next Sunday right here on WTIC News Talk 1080.